call the meeting to order. We have the flag salute, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Young.
Here.
Commissioner Ingram.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
Chief Brown.
Here.
Everybody's here.
All right, any adjustments to the agenda?
Not for me. I have no adjustments, ma'am.
I have one adjustment, because of some information I learned from Mike after talking to Nick, that the planned executive session that we had for today is probably not necessary.
But
So
we can discuss it. Well, I see what you're saying. Just get rid of the executive
the
session.
executive session,
You still want to discuss it? I think we should.
oh, yeah, we
Yeah,
can,
okay.
yeah. That, and for the audience, that is for the purpose of chief evaluations. Okay. And also, I had an item that I wanted to add. And don't know if we should wait on that one. I think I'm gonna go ahead and add it and discuss it. What I would like to add under new business is a review of resolution 2024-7. And that's the resolution that allows board members to volunteer. So now we'll move on. Approval of the minutes, Val? Or I guess that's us.
Mm-hmm.
Do I hear a motion?
Val, did we correct the meeting dates in
Yes.
this copy as we discussed? I haven't looked to see. There was one minor adjustment, which I've screwed up as well. The fourth Thursday or Wednesday of the month, and I think we fixed that in here. So let me just verify that.
Is that fixed on the
It's under new
website too?
business.
Do you know?
Yes, yes. I couldn't fix it on the last one. I don't know how that happened, but
No.
it's not showing up anymore.
Okay.
Got it. Madam Chair, I move that we approve the minutes of Wednesday, May 21st, 2025, regular meeting.
I second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. The yeah, that's good. And next we'll have the financial report.
Madam Chair, I have reviewed vouchers 335 through 362 in the amount of $17,658,000.34 versus receipts provided, and all are in account, and I move to approve those vouchers for that amount.
I second that with just the way you said it. I think you said $17,658,034. So $17,658.34.
34 cents, yes.
Yes, okay. Discussion. I have some questions, but it's not related to the vouchers, it's related to the budget information that we received. So let's go ahead and approve the vouchers first, and then I can.
Okay.
So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye. All opposed, motion carries. On the, oh, okay.
two sheets, because there's two payroll cycles.
Oh, okay.
In this period, yeah.
On the budget, I asked Val this time to give us a comparison of where we are currently compared to the budgeted amounts, and I think there's some tweaks or something that we gotta make to make it come just right. There's some glitches in the software system. But there are some other questions that I had, and I kind of wanted to go down. There were some that were quite a bit over or under. And one was Springbrook. We had budgeted, we're at 180% of what we budgeted. And can you guys let us know a little bit about why that is? The Springbrook.
We were billed again for money that was still owed from last administrator.
Oh, okay. Oh, I remember that.
We're
Okay,
just paying that off.
okay.
That is paid off now.
And then also there is grant expenditures,
There's a separate one.
and that
We're making
is
payments.
showing we're at 200% of the budget for that one.
That's it.
That was that.
Oh, this is my packet.
$4,000.
Yeah.
What 4,000?
This is on the credit card.
There should be a
When we
Yeah.
applied for the,
Oh, that is when, yeah, when we registered at the federal level
Registered,
for FEMA at the federal level.
okay.
That was done, well, in January, February.
So that was more than what we thought we're
Yes.
Yes.
anticipating, okay. Also, I'm curious about Social Security, we're at 225% of the budget on that one. And this, by the way, is the general fund that we're talking about.
Right.
Is that based on our budgeting that we did? Or what was spent?
Well,
Last
the
year.
actual that we have spent
The
so
actual we've
far
already
is
spent.
225% of what we budgeted.
Okay.
So it's
we
over
based the
budget.
budget on last year and for
Which, yeah.
that,
So we have.
I think we just didn't,
We have to adjust it.
yeah,
Okay.
This is our first full year on it.
yeah.
Question, do you have the voucher signing for the payroll? Or we only
It's on that
signed
other
two.
page.
I think there's only two here, there should be
Here,
three.
yeah.
There's the state
If you
auditor.
tip this one over, it showed up on that.
It's on that,
Oh, the
Yeah.
payroll showed up on that.
right.
Okay.
The next one that I have, Mike, is the Washington Fire Commissioners, and it's cut off. I'm assuming that's the association fees. Where,
Is that on second page?
yeah, we budgeted $1,620 and it's 2,373. I'm assuming that's
Washington.
just a raise in their
Raising the
fee.
fees. Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
And then this one's cut off too. I don't know exactly what this is. Fire prevention and something.
It is.
And we budgeted $100 and it came in at $632.
Fire prevention and suppression, I think.
We,
But it came out on the full sheet.
probably what we could do is instead of looking them up each one, we could maybe just mark them and you can get back to me on them. Okay. Quick, I don't think there's too many more. I already told Mike about the differences in the commissioner pay things. so
Yeah, and I
know
talked to
you're
her about
working
it,
on
it's showing up, both of them are showing up under Steve's, but she doesn't select it, it's an automatic thing that Springbrook put in, so we have to call them.
them.
Check
Okay,
it.
They have to make a correction on
okay.
that.
So you telling me I'm overpaid? No, you're overpaid.
Steve, you're underpaid.
Okay, and the EMS side, there's a social security issue too, so that's different number of people.
22, 23.
And again, Springbrook is higher than we expected. ESO, and I think that's it. So those were just some, it would,
Okay.
I remember when Troy was here, him talking about how it's kind of wonky how it comes out.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think at that time, I remember a discussion about a lot of different fire departments were having issues. That maybe we needed to talk to the county as a group of us or something. So maybe you could look into that and find out what's going on there too, so. But did you guys have any questions on this?
No, ma'am.
No.
Oh, okay.
And just to clarify this question, these are the accurate vouchers. There was a redundant printout, so this is the accurate reflection of vouchers, 335 to 362.
Okay.
Thank you, Val.
Okay. Commissioner comments. Commissioner Ingram.
First, I'd like to take the opportunity to personally thank our sister district at South Mason Fire and Rescue. Got a call, what was it, last Wednesday, Chief, due to a short notice cancellation without refund. They offered a spot to us to attend the Washington State Fire Commissioners Spring Training Conference. Also, a spot in the Nicholson Insurance Group training seminars, and great valuable information. So to South Mason Fire and Rescue, thanks for the opportunity to learn some new things in our infancy here that we otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity to do. So that seminar consisted of a couple of great presentations, one by the Attorney General's Office on Public Records that I feel smarter, though scareder. Also, a very good discussion on strategies for anti-discrimination efforts and policies within the departments large and small, which I think we can move towards in the future. Saturday was a full-on all-day leadership and communication seminar by a high-powered executive trainer, which presented a lot of great information. And though often these things are geared towards larger departments and larger organizations, the interesting thing is that we all share some of the same troubles, concerns, and things. And one thing I will say that kind of rang throughout the fellow commissioners that I met with and stuff is they all lament the same thing we do. We want to hear from everybody. Everybody in our district and community. We've got 1,100 registered voters, and everybody's saying, hey, we're making decisions here and we want to hear from you and make sure we're making the right ones. So that's a common theme throughout. So I just throw that out there that we see our friendly faces here. We love you, but we want to see everybody's face or hear from them in some way, shape, or form. So
along with what you're talking about, Steve, I got a phone call and I got a text from up north on the peninsula there, meeting you guys, and said it was great. They were really glad to meet you and what we got going on.
Well, a lot of support out there amongst the surrounding communities and statewide. So great to show face, represent, and learn a fair amount to hopefully help our community and our district. Next week I'll be attending, along with Val, our state auditors training seminar presented by our county auditor's office up at the Public Works office next Thursday. Man, does this place shine with that new paint job? Doesn't it? And I'm going to leave, I'm excited to talk about a grant we recently received, but I'm going to let the chief introduce that for you. But lots of great stuff going on. Proud to serve you. Proud to be part of this community. Proud to hear things good and bad. right? And just lots of stuff happening. Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Jones.
Oh, I don't have too much. Just that the station does look great. It looks.
Yes.
I love the black. I think that
Yeah.
that addition makes it pop. Yes. So thanks House Mouse and the Fire Association for all your work and donating and them painting it. That's a lot of work. Also, thought I had one more thing, but I think that was it.
All right. I did have a correspondence through email from one of our community members at requesting if we could get our regular meeting dates put up on the reader board. They do not have access to internet, and so the only way she said she knew about the last meeting was she saw it in the journal. I didn't know that it was in the journal, but
I didn't either.
it must have been there somewhere. But I agree, I think that's a good idea. Just our regular meeting is the third Wednesdays of the month at 6, something like that. And now that we have a nice fancy new paint job, that would be a nice touch up there. And that's all. I thank you again to the association and to the House Mouse. Are they planning to do the other buildings too, or was it
No,
just
no,
this
just
one?
this one.
Okay. They did a great job, and
They should be finished up Friday. They have a little touch up here and there they want to do.
okay. So that's all I've got. So let's move on to the chief's report.
Okay. Wasn't here last month, so February we had 23 calls. And for February, for April, and then May, we had 17 calls.
Do you have a breakdown of fire and EMS?
For last month, it was 11 medical and 6 fire and other.
Okay.
18 out of 23 in April were medical. Okay. We did, Commissioner Ingram and myself, we put in for a DNR operational grant of $100,000 to try to upgrade the tender, and we were awarded that $100,000. We have a tender that US Fire has, and so we both went up Friday and looked at it, took the measurements. He put us out a complete spec sheet, and I have that if anybody wants to look at it, and the equipment that goes with that. And then, we're still waiting.
This is as it is right now, or before they do the work on it?
No, this is how it's gonna come out.
Okay.
This is finished product with the weights, measurements, and everything else.
Okay, so, go ahead, I'll let you finish, Mike, go ahead.
Well, it's gonna be, so that $100,000 will go towards that, and then whatever's left, he'll do 2 or 3 equal payments over 3 years, if that's what we wanted, at interest free. So
And what's the total?
the total is 125.5.
125.
Out the door, new paint job, the whole works.
It would come with lights and
Light,
Yep.
yes.
LED
everything.
lighting, backup cameras, automatic transmission, 750,000 fewer miles than our present tender.
Yep.
Couple hundred gallons additional capacity
Right,
in the
3,200
tank,
gallon tank.
500 gallon GPM pump. Pretty substantial upgrade.
7-year warranty on the pump, lifetime warranty on the tank, and 6 months warranty on the truck bumper to bumper from the time we purchased it. So,
Okay, so.
Go ahead.
Lauren,
yeah, I still got
On
one.
the grant part?
No, not on the grant.
Do you
We're
want-
just waiting on the
Just
paper.
go ahead and give your report and I'll do the grant, my questions when you're
Okay.
done.
This one here. What else did I have? Oh, okay, so, we were, Union, District 6, and North Mason Regional Fire Authority, they had done a grant together for new hoses and nozzles. They were awarded that, so Union gave us all their hoses that were a lot more up to date than a lot of ours. They're all pressure tested already, and with nozzles and stuff yet to come. So if you look back there, there's a bunch of hoses. We've been going through the trucks, taking out the old hoses, those are from the 70s and 80s, and upgrading them with, like everything they had was probably 2006 and better. So all that stuff that's back there passed except like 3 hoses. But we have to have a process of renewing, you know, so that's a good start on it. 17, which is up at Lillywop. They're in the middle of trying to do a vote for a merger with 18, and they surplused us 23 handheld radios, ICOM handheld radios with chargers, microphones, all sorts of extra stuff. So we're getting a lot of help from different people out there, and we appreciate that.
So Mike, were the hoses, the hose testing that I think was on the
Yep.
Yeah,
thing
we
was
just
for
did
the new hoses or our old hoses?
old.
So what's gonna happen with the old hoses?
The old hoses will be taken out of service. We'll cut the ends of them off and turn that into just scrap and deposit that money in,
Okay,
because they're way old.
but since we just paid that money to hose test them, they can't be used for something or for somebody?
Yeah, I'm gonna give 6 of the 1.5" to the school. They've set up over there to where, and they've requested those, but no. They're so out of date, even though they pass, they're out of date. And the NFPA just says, you know, that you do not have to get rid of hoses because they're out of date, but you have to have a procedure in to replace them and take them out of service
And show that you're replacing.
and show that we replaced them.
Okay, I just,
If,
no, I don't.
if we would've
Maybe
got
somehow
the
it
hoses a little bit
3,000.
sooner,
Ish, yeah, was the,
if we would've got the hose a little bit sooner, it would've been different, but
Yeah. It's a lot of money, but,
yeah,
okay.
it is.
Chief, how, in your estimation, what is the age span between our present hose outfitting and what we've received from our generous sister districts?
Well, I think our oldest one was what, 77?
Okay,
I think it was.
77. And we had several in the early 80s.
okay,
Matter of fact, I don't think any of those over there are anything more than 70s and 80s.
okay.
And so what they gave us was 2006.
Okay, so perhaps a phased-in approach as
Right.
we,
And we have like
to
2001.
phase out, phase in would be cost effective to,
And we had already was doing that when I was here before. So like the hose, a lot of the hose that was on engine 12.4 last night, that was from 2001. So it's, yeah, you buy just hose every year and you phase out your oldest and you just, that way you just keep bringing it in. That's all I got.
That's all you got?
Yes.
Okay. So I do have some questions about the grant.
Okay.
And I know you guys know I've had some questions. I still am having a difficult time accepting that we are going to spend $100,000 on a vehicle that is not completely finished being rebuilt or repaired. And Couple of questions that I have about that are, first of all, the warranties. What I would like to see, and I hope the board would concur with me on this, that we get a copy of some kind of a document from US Fire that includes the full warranty information on the various parts of it that you said,
Yeah.
and a full description of the modification and repairs that they made to the vehicle after they do it.
And you know, we're not purchasing this until it's done,
Right, and that's,
Okay.
but that's,
and we test drive it.
that was another part of my question, is that I would like to have several of our volunteers who, you know, Rod or whoever's in charge of the rigs, to test drive it, just to make sure that, I mean, I wouldn't buy a car without test driving it myself, so
Yeah,
I think that's important.
we are not gonna buy it without a test drive and running the pump and doing everything else.
Okay. And also, and maybe I'm wrong, but I understand that the state patrol has to pass a state patrol inspection. And so I would like to make sure that that is done too.
Not state patrol, it's a federal inspection is what it has to pass, which all trucks have to pass.
I was told there was a state patrol one, but maybe I'm wrong.
It used to be, but on fire department apparatuses,
It's
the
just a
inspections
federal.
are done by whoever does your maintenance, if they're licensed to do the federal inspections.
Okay.
Just like US Fire,
Yeah.
we have stickers on every vehicle we have out here for passing the federal inspection.
Do you think that's a good idea to have the person selling us also do the inspection?
Yes, I totally trust him. If I didn't trust him to do that, I wouldn't trust him to do the other ones. He's
Well-
not, I don't believe that he's trying to take us in any way. I think he's trying to help us.
I'm not saying that. I'm
But
just saying that we're
think-
spending $100,000 of the public's money.
You're
And I
right.
want to make sure
No, it's
that,
not. This is
that
grant money.
it's public money.
Well, there will be
It's-
some.
No matter
Yeah,
how
it's
you
all
look
public
at
money,
it,
yeah.
It's all,
it's tax money.
But it's not coming out of at least our taxpayers' budget.
Well, it is in another way. They're
In
paying
another
it
way,
through the
but I'm talking
state.
about through the community.
Right. I'm not trying to make this an issue. I
Yep.
just think
Yeah.
that we need, as representatives to the public, we need to make sure that we are spending this money wisely. And these are questions that I would have. I would not purchase a vehicle without going through asking some of these questions.
right.
I also want to know, once we approve it and pay the 100,000, how is the remaining 25,000 going to be paid?
It
Is
can
that
be
a
done in,
payment plan, or,
yep,
okay?
interest-free,
And there would be, do we know the due date that would have to be paid in full?
3 years out.
3 years.
My anticipation is though, when we sell the old one, it all gets paid off.
So the old one will be sold or given?
Surplus, nope, surplus sold.
Surplus, okay. And we'll get a professional value put on that?
Have to.
Fair
And,
market.
and then there will be a resolution that you guys will have to pass with a minimum bid
Okay,
and how long you want it to be out there,
all right.
you know.
Okay, I think that answers all my questions, so thank you.
You had a question before about the axle length.
I
Did you
had,
want a copy of that?
yeah, I would like that. There was some concern about the axle being, and I'm not a driver, so I'm just kind of relaying this. The rear axle being too far forward to make it around the corners of some of the driveways that we have to go up to, so I just want to put that on your guys' radar when you're test driving it.
Can I
To
say
double
something
check
different to that? It's just the opposite. If you have a long wheelbase, you have a hard time. Shorter wheelbases allows you to get around better.
Okay, I may have said
And-
that backwards
Right,
then.
and so there's the RCW 4644, what is it, 190?
190.
Addresses to where there's an exemption for fire departments on apparatus for the weight limit too. So
Okay, I just wanna make sure it's drivable for our volunteers.
we're not gonna purchase anything until
Okay,
we go through it.
can I have this?
Yes, you may.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Mike?
No,
And also, just for clarification, before we accept the grant, we'll have to do a resolution, right? To accept the funds.
I think we just need a
no,
motion.
it's a motion on who signs it. That's all,
Or who
that's all
executes
is
it.
required.
But we'll have to,
It's not a resolution. It's a motion on whose signature will go on the contract.
but we have to authorize accepting
Yeah.
them.
Yes, you do.
And not-
Not
Yeah, we would have, because there's commitments to a grant that you have to fulfill. And I would think that we would at least have to have some sort of official board action to
Yes.
accept.
you
I-
do.
I
You
do.
have to, that is part of the motion
Okay,
of who's gonna, to sign for the contract.
And that's
So there's two motions in my mind.
Yeah.
One is determining who executes the grant, and two, who executes the contract with
the remaining balance.
US Fire for the work and payment and financing.
Okay.
Right.
yeah, that makes sense.
Good.
Can I say something on US Fire's behalf?
Sure.
When we were in there before, they did a lot of work for us. Yeah, anything they come up to work on, if something didn't work quite right, Mike can make the phone call, maybe be right up here to fix it. They're very good people. It's not like you gotta think they're, you know, Cal Worthington parking lot up there. They're good people.
And they're owned by another company just bought them.
True North.
Yeah.
True North.
True North. Which is why I think this opportunity to upgrade our tender became available through that process. There was some availability of used equipment. And Madam Chair, to address some of your concerns, one, as Mike mentioned, or Chief mentioned, I did go out there with him and meet Lloyd and the U.S. Fire staff, tour the facilities. These are professional firefighting equipment manufacturers who build equipment to state and federal specifications in all regards. So as to coin a phrase, it's not the Cal Worthington, used car lot. And I understand that. However, due diligence is certainly required.
Right,
in
I'm no
ensuring
way
every
saying anything bad about US Fire. I'm
every
just
element is there.
wanting them to make sure we're taking the right precautions.
And I do too, but I also want to illustrate that at our last strategic planning meeting, we agreed that upgrading our apparatus, amongst other priorities, was certainly a top priority, and the top priority in that particular category was upgrading the tender. And though I'm not a fire apparatus expert, I am a mechanical inclined person with government contracting experience, and again, due diligence applied. I think this is a very economical way to meet a top strategic priority that this board has reviewed and approved.
I agree. Okay, that's all you had, Mike?
Yes.
Okay. Communications, and I relayed the one that I got already from about the reader board. Were there any others?
Just that one I gave you,
The email.
that email I gave you right before, where it's from the chief of Grays Harbor 2.
Oh,
And in essence, we went down on a mutual aid call.
oh,
No, that's
no,
the
that's the DNR.
I haven't seen that one.
No, I just gave it to Trina.
Oh, you did? Just to make it past there.
Yeah.
I thought it was more organized this time.
You are way more organized than me.
Well, I gave it to you last minute, so,
It was just before we started.
yep.
It's gotta be in this back. safety minutes.
It's just a one-page email. Anyway, it's from the chief of Grace Harbor too.
I think I did see that.
Thanking our district for outstanding help on a structure fire they had down at Shaper Game Farms. And we took tender support.
I apologize, I don't see it here, Mike.
We got it.
I think I saw it sitting on the table here. Oh, here it is.
Oh, there you go. So that's the other communication. It's, you want me to read it? Or, that was just, it's just the, your personnel and water tender support were instrumental in tackling what proved to be a challenging incident. The location posed significant water supply complications compounded by a bridge near the property that is not rated to support large tender apparatus. This required an alternate route to be identified and utilized via logging roads. And the Grace Harbor Sheriff's deputies played a critical role in getting and taking our tenders around on the D line. And so he just wanted, on behalf of Grace Harbor Fire District 2, want to extend my sincere gratitude for the outstanding assistance your agencies provided during last night's structure fire response at 144 Shaper Lane.
All right, public records requests.
Nothing new.
So it's one new from the same person?
Oh, it's one new, yeah, sorry. We do have one new from the same person.
Okay,
We have another month to complete that. The one we're working on right now, everything is at the attorney. We're just waiting for him to approve us to send it on.
Redact.
Complete redactions.
Redact it, yep.
and,
I talked to him today. He's working on it. As I was speaking, he was working on it. He knows that the 26th, it has to be out to him, so.
okay, the 20, that's why I was wondering.
Yeah,
the June
26.
26 deadline.
A lot of pages.
What I would like to do, for the board's sake, is I would like for Mike to talk with Eric about trying to set up a meeting with, Mr. Morgan, with Eric present, to try to kind of resolve some of the questions that he's had. I think that's important to try to reach out to him.
Okay.
So if Mike, if
Yeah.
you could kind of
Yep,
set
if
something
it's
up,
agreed on, I will do it.
that would be good.
Yep.
Do we need a motion or agreement's okay?
I think agreements. Fine.
Yeah, I don't think that's a
Okay, thank you.
motion item.
I just hate having.
I will just add,
Thanks.
Madam Chair, that in my recent Attorney General's office training, it is well within Mr. Morgan's rights to maintain total anonymity
Sure.
throughout the entire process, but certainly would like.
I thought it would be
like-
nice to put
likewise,
it out there, because I want the public to feel like we do have an open door
Yep,
when it comes to
absolutely,
questions
yep.
and records requests, so,
I certainly support that aim.
thank you. Okay, public comment. We have anybody with public comment?
I'll throw one more. We did EBIT training there in early month, or maybe it was last meeting, whatever it is, Grace Harbor 10, Wichita, they come over, 3 of them, on a Sunday, and taught the whole class and did one heck of a good job. They really did good. And everybody there that was there, you know, they learned from it.
Just to add on to that, so when Grace Harbor 10 came, there was, some people were able to go down on a Wednesday night to West Mason and get it. So that's why they came on Sunday to get everybody else. And they're also gonna make us, we took pictures last night, you know, like headshots.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna make us plastic ID cards that have what you're allowed to drive on the back.
Oh, nice.
So,
That'd
yeah,
be
they're,
nice.
that was one I forgot. They're wanting to help us all the way through.
Okay, good. Anybody else, public comment? Yes.
I just found out recently that the people that we sent to academy and all the different things we pay for are no longer volunteers in our fire department. Like, they're at a different location. Why can't we get the money back for what we forked out for these people that didn't complete it? Are they getting now they're not here anymore? What do we do about that? That's a lot of money that we forked out. And you know how many? Nobody.
Well, there's quite a few people that did not complete, their training that we paid for. Let me finish, Debbie.
Okay, sorry.
There's quite a few people that did not finish training, that we paid for in addition to the two you're talking about. And there were no contracts signed.
Yep.
And it is very permissible. I researched that myself, and there is no law that says that they have to
Maybe we
pay
should have a
back.
policy.
Pardon?
Maybe we should have a policy saying that they have to, for so long, be a part of our department before they can go somewhere else.
Well, I don't think it would hurt to at least have some sort of a
That's-
contract that they sign when we pay
That's
them.
already in the works through
For-
Eric.
Is it?
So, but at this point, we were starting out, we did not have any policies like that in place.
Nope.
And,
We're still working on it.
people are free to go
They're volunteers.
volunteer where they want to, so,
I just think it's the irony of us working all of that money that we're so short on. And we're not benefiting really from that. Some of the.
well, there's quite several from the various trainings, so firefighter one training, I'm not remembering about AMR, but, and this one as well.
EMR, they all made it.
So, yes, Shirley.
I just have a comment on the Wildfire Association, actually it was an Outlaw community. There was gun ho fire for quite some time.
There was
After we
what?
came back, and then all of a sudden it was like overnight. And I can pinpoint the time that the staff here, or the management and volunteers, did 180 turnaround. And it's called loyalty. They were wanting change, they were wanting this, they were wanting that, and all of a sudden now it's like, we came in, and I do think there's things going on in the background.
Well, I don't know what you're implying, but maybe that's a conversation we should have after the meeting if you have something that you want to say.
I just want you to know there's not a loyalty like there was.
Well, I don't think loyalty is necessarily the word that we need to use when we're just building something. And like I said, if you want to talk about that more after the meeting, I'd be more than happy to.
It's a difference.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Before.
Any other public comments? Oh, yes, thank you. Detective Rhodes is here from the Sheriff's Office. Do you have an update for us on the FBI case?
Come on up.
Yeah,
Come on up so you can get by a
front so we
microphone.
can.
Get you on camera.
Yeah, we want John King.
Always told I have a face for radio. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jeff Rhodes. I was formerly the detective sergeant for the sheriff's office. I am now the chief criminal deputy at the sheriff's office, so I'm no longer in the investigations unit. But I do have news to report that as of 2 weeks ago, our county case was filed with the prosecutor's office for them to review in consideration of charging in regards to the incidents and the acts that occurred over the last handful of years by the prior board, and specifically the prior fire chief.
Great.
So what that means is that the prosecutor's office now has to review the case in its entirety and make a determination of charges if they are applicable, if they're deemed to be applicable. A case like this, as long as it took and as long as things have been going on, we know is super frustrating for the community. And we share in that frustration, and I know it took a long time. But the end result is the case, when it was sent to the prosecutor, was sent over for consideration of charging Kelly with multiple felony counts that they will have to review. Okay? If the prosecutor makes a determination that they feel, number one, that a crime occurred, and they can prove that crime, then they have an opportunity to seek a couple different avenues in how to proceed. They can issue a warrant for her arrest, or they can summon her to court on a summons to come stand before the court to be formally charged. So, although it took a long time to get there, their review itself is in its infancy. So I can speak on behalf of our agency, and certainly probably a request from the prosecutor's office is please be patient in their review of that and give them some time, because there's a lot of paperwork to review.
Yes,
Now,
there is.
this is an investigation is separate from the FBI investigation. However, much of the information that much of the evidence that we are hoping to be able to use in our case was gathered as part of that FBI investigation as well. I've been in constant contact with the special agent in charge of the investigation. I would anticipate most likely that their case is going to be closed here very soon, likely without federal charges, but that is because of the state case that we were able to present. The problem becomes in a case like this, where the dollar amount, as much as it is for a small district like this, and as devastating as it can be to your community, and it has been to your community, in the eyes of the federal government, it's not a big, sexy case. And the problem they ran into specifically at the federal level is the FBI is the investigative authority. Then they turn that case over to the U.S. Attorney's Office, and that U.S. Attorney's Office is who would be in charge of prosecuting for any federal charges. The federal system is a lot different than the state system, and not every crime that we have at the local state level translates over, and there's not an applicable crime at the federal level. So the feds, after their investigation, had far fewer potential charges that they could proceed with, and it was lots of meetings between our office, the Assistant U.S. Attorney's Office, our prosecutor's office, and the FBI, which is what led us to ultimately determining where you're going to get the most bang for your buck is going through, hopefully with state prosecution on the case.
So if it's going through the county level, is there like a public notice when they are brought before the court, if that's what happens?
I honestly don't know the legalities behind that. If there's a warrant issued,
Would it be like an arraignment?
so no, initially it would be a summons to appear in court, and that would be most likely the ID hearing. So right now, if we went out and made a physical custody arrest based on the information that we have, what would happen is we would take that person, we would book them into the jail. Within 72 hours, they would have to appear before the court for what's called their ID hearing. And that's for the court to make an initial reading of the statement of probable cause, and then make an initial ruling on that probable cause, where the judge reviews it and says, if everything within the four corners of this paper is true, then that supports the criminal charge of whatever they had been arrested for. And at that point, the judge would assess bail, they would address the issue of bail, and then they would also work on seeing if the person was qualified for a court-appointed counsel, or if they were going to hire their own attorney. Arraignment would come later on, because even that ID hearing is not the official filing of charges. So then after that hearing, the prosecution has so long to officially file charges. If the subject is held in jail, that time is, I believe it's within 72 hours, court hours. So that is why in a case like this, where there is so much information for them to go over, it is not prudent for us, even if we felt we had a rock solid case against a particular subject. It's really a strategic decision whether or not we make that physical custody arrest and put them right into jail, and then tell the prosecutor, you've got a limited amount of time to make a decision, number one, and then make a charging decision. It's more prudent in these types of cases to give the prosecutor the time they need, because it's not likely, but it's probable that the prosecution or prosecutor's office might look at our case and say, hey, you know what, we think there might be something more here, but we want some more investigation in this avenue. So we're still working with the U.S. Attorney's Office to get their authorization for the FBI to turn over the information that they received via federal subpoenas and federal warrants on the banking information. The interesting thing is, although the FBI agents and I can sit in a room and talk, they can't readily share information obtained via federal warrants and federal subpoenas to state agents. So it's bureaucracy is, if anybody can understand it, I give them kudos.
So if a summons is issued and they're not in the state any longer, will the county pursue it?
So, yes. That being said, the recommendation from the conclusion of the report was considering charges against former Chief Walsworth. The other parties in the case, although had involvements in some of the activities, the clear-cut, in my opinion, criminal charges are against the former chief. So the charges we sent for review are leading organized crime, theft in the first degree, forgery, and trafficking in stolen property. So I want to commend this board, and Trina, you especially, for all of the work that you did. All of those spreadsheets, all of that information really helped us be able to focus our attention between the SAO reports and that information, and really kind of helped us grasp kind of the entirety of what we were looking at. Also, this board's recent decision to waive the confidentiality of the prior attorney got records to the FBI, which have then been turned over to us, which, in my opinion, clearly show that the prior board was put on notice that there was certainly issues with some of the suspect transfers of money. So thank you for all of your work.
Thank you.
That really helped us.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
I don't know if you did all that, you still got a brain.
I don't know what else you did, because I think you were working on that whole time.
She was, I mean, there's pages and pages.
I'll just say it.
Instrumental in that.
Does anybody else have any questions for Jeff?
Congratulations on your promotion.
Yes. Thank you for the.
So we call you
report.
chief now?
You can.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, he's moving to Matlock. Become fire chief.
Patty, did you have anything you wanted to say? Patty is here, our county assessor.
Well, Dave stopped by the other day and asked if I would bring an example of your current rate, the certified 2025 rate versus what it would be with a levy limit. So I brought some paperwork, the worksheets. I can pass them out and talk about them. Sure. I have them there.
I think I made 15 copies. Well, this might be, I'm gonna hand those out and then save one. These are mine.
Steven, I
We can share that.
yeah,
Okay.
we thought the same thing.
That's right, yeah. Hey, this looks like my house.
Mine too.
Mickey and Minnie Mouse.
You didn't know they lived there, did they?
Okay.
We'll share one.
Yeah, we're good, we're good.
And then this is just notes about the levy lid lift.
Okay.
Just kind of the requirements. I know.
Got it. So this is the worksheet.
That's really good.
Yeah, that's to you, Nicholas. Thanks to you.
Well,
And
it's
you-
thanks to all of you guys too.
Oh, no, you did a
But-
lot of work. You were,
You were in the foxhole.
You know,
I think that's all you did for, was eat,
I
sleep,
just-
and breathe.
I just hope Kevin doesn't leave.
I hope they can use it.
Yes, that's what he was referring to. Is that, you know, then you would be getting into, and I have this one more.
Okay.
Expedition.
Cool.
I'm hoping they can make something of your fuel report,
Yeah, me too.
because we just, I was like,
Because we knew the feds weren't.
Yeah,
So
That
that's
was the most
very,
comprehensive
very.
report we've heard.
Yeah, we,
Yeah.
Can you award it?
Well,
so
yeah,
all that's paying off.
stronger glasses.
finally,
Yeah.
that's good.
So this is where we're at now, 2025.
Yeah.
Oh. Right there.
Yeah, so it's, that's, so for this.
Increases, okay.
Which one? Oh, that, I don't have that.
I like it.
Yeah.
Mickey and Minnie Mouse.
Yeah.
She gave us that one.
Yeah, with the median numbers throughout the
Yeah.
district too. that you
And
could-
that's
yeah,
what I
awesome.
figured my house will do too.
Yep, yep.
They show us at 96.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. If we don't get one of those, we need one with all the units. We have one of those.
You want me to- you-
Oh,
yeah,
we don't
no,
have one in,
Which one? This?
I don't know, we don't have, you only have, I'll let you, you can have that. I can
Okay.
just look at it. Okay.
Yeah, we could,
We'll keep this.
this is just the worksheet basically
Yeah.
that shows the stuff, so but that should be in the minutes, but just,
I know, I showed Shirley this, and she's like,
Yeah.
oh, she remembers those.
yeah, yeah. And then
The
it
worksheets.
shows the,
Put on your life size. No, those are so bad. Oh, no, I have extras. Oh, no, that's, so here's the big one. Okay, so the copy of your tax statement is, your local fire district. I highlighted the fire line, and so that was the current rate. So if you look at your levy limitation worksheet, on the very back, it's the lowest of the statutory, your limits, so it's the lowest levy that you can do. So the rate this year for 2025 is about 90 cents per thousand.
Down here. Okay.
So if you look at the tax statement for Mickey and Minnie Mouse, the assessed value is $710,510 times that certified levy rate. So that's your line item on your tax statement of $640.58. So the levy lid lift is a vote of the people to take it back to your statutory max of $1.50 per thousand. So down on the bottom, I just took the $1.50 per thousand times the assessed value, and it's an increase for this tax statement of $425.18 per year. So if you look at your second page levy limit worksheet, it's an unprotected worksheet to kind of mock a $1.50 rate versus the 90-cent rate. And on the bottom, you can see the difference on the line S. So what they budget, or what your guys' resolution was for $228,797.88 to get back to the statutory max, which you can see on line K on the certified amount for the $1.50. So you gotta kind of use an unprotected document because these are, the state puts formulas in there. So that's why your H line is higher than that. So it'll default back down to that statutory max at the $1.50 rate.
Oh, right here.
So I was trying to just do a couple examples of what the $1.50 difference would be per year.
So this is what the levy would come out at.
Yeah. So you see on the first page,
It's 228,
you see your statutory max right here,
right?
380,669 $0.94. And so when you try to get to that, that would be the $1.50. So that's
Oh,
why
49,900.
these numbers are kind of made,
Okay.
made higher, so that the worksheet will default to the highest level.
Okay.
And then depending on the verbiage of your ballot, on the levy lid lift notes, you want to make sure. Let's see. So occasionally the district will need to raise the levy limit in order to increase funds. They may ask the voters to authorize it to levy in the amount to exceed the limit factor, which is the 1% lid lift. So to go above the 1% lid to get back to the $1.50 stat.
Okay.
So the notes on the levy lid lift is there. There's an example of a tax statement of what it was billed and what could have been billed with the $1.50, and then the worksheets that we turn in. Well, that's what we get back.
Mike, you next got a question.
Oh, I think you answered it. But I was just wondering, why is it not? It says $1, 1.4999988. Is it?
It's a rounding.
Okay.
It's like an IRS worksheet. If A is less than B, then default to this.
Yeah.
I think our system goes out 6 digits, and I asked Sally just to do the 6, but she worked these up for me, so she just left them.
Could use a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, she is. Any questions? It's basically about 60 cents more per thousand of what you're paying is all. And if you look, I thought I did a tape to show you just do the difference of the 380 to 228.
Right.
And that'd be your guys' new
Okay.
max, depending on the verbiage.
So anybody out there watching the video tonight, if they have questions, they can call the office or they can call Patty at the county assessor's office
Yes, they
for
can.
clarification.
Exactly.
Thank you, Patty.
Welcome.
Thank you, Madam
Yes, thank
Assessor.
you.
And you can
Appreciate
make copies of this and
Right. We
hand
can
them
have
out to
them.
folks or just.
We can have them for anybody that's on them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't call me, I'll call you.
Did you have a copy of Jason Sanders? How it works is what I'm saying,
I
I
do
guess.
too.
Okay.
You want
Nick,
it,
did you
Nick?
want that?
No.
Anybody else? There's an extra copy up here if you want.
Okay.
Okay. Any other public comments before we move on to the next? Okay, unfinished business. I think we have this on here twice, so we'll just
Yeah, we do.
address it. IT, website, the update on our Facebook and website building stuff. So Mike, do you want to take that?
Diedrich's been working on it. I talked to him a little bit prior to. If you'll notice, there is a change in the document center. Documents are getting easier, but maybe we want to have Diedrich just kind of address it. I told him we were going to put him on the spot.
You're on your own camera.
You have to get in front, Diedrich.
There's a limitation on WordPress sites on what a document center can look like.
Okay.
And I think the one that is installed is the best we can get. I will continue to research to find something better, but that's what we're still working on. The change I made it a little easier to navigate. There are some internal things that I need to talk to Steve about to be consistent on what we name the files. That's how it decides to put it in order, regardless of what you tell the template to do.
Sure. And that was my thought on that too, Diedrich. I saw Mike showed me the file format kind of, or folder format, which looks to be more visually user friendly. And if I can get some training and understanding of that, I can start populating, I think, at least the core, documents we would like to have, ready public access to on that. And then train. You can train me, you can train anybody.
Because we need to clean up the documents and everything.
Yeah, and I think the board had talked to Diedrich before about, giving him full
Yeah.
sway as to what he chooses
Yeah.
and what works
Yeah.
best. So
correct.
whatever you come up with, Diedrich, as long as we can use it, we'll
Sure,
be happy.
So is that going to be so we got website,
I think it's the
Facebook,
same thing,
maintenance?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
same
it's
thing.
Kind of same thing, yeah.
Twice.
So, and also, I did have a question, is that including also our file backup? Remember we had
No.
talked before?
No, that's a totally different thing.
So are we looking into that? 'Cause-
Yes, we are.
okay,
We are, and I do, on that, I do have a recommended place to go to.
Okay,
Kind of waiting on the credit card. If not, I have to use my own credit card.
okay,
So that's the holdup so far.
all right.
You guys want me to use my own to get it going? I will.
They won't do like an invoice or
Nope.
something? Okay. It's
Yeah,
up to you.
you know, I'd like to minimize the use of I mean, I get it and the
I
dedication to
agree.
do that, chief, but I'd like to start weaning off the,
And what we're gonna do under
Can we
new
ha-
business, is that gonna fix
Yes,
that?
yes.
Okay, okay. All right, policy 200,
In this
organizations.
one. Interlocal agreement.
That's twice too.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, is
under
it?
new business. The BLS response.
Oh, yep,
That's what
it
that
is.
was,
Okay.
so.
Yep,
Okay, so policy 200.
yes.
So Mike has sent us his draft. And there's a couple of things on here. Do either of you two have any comments on that?
I have reviewed this, in fair detail, and I know we've reviewed it a couple of times. Chief, I'd like to tell you, I appreciate you sending out some examples from other districts who are using similar policies, and this was, as a matter of fact, it's, you know, the general structure was, of some discussion at the spring training session, in an ancillary way anyway, and, other than some minor typographical errors, I'm in general, agreement with the context of this policy.
I think under 200.3, there needs to be an EMS division maybe. That's, there's just three.
Yeah.
There's three branches that we have as a volunteer, you know. and it's
Right.
Just
Yeah, I'd
admin,
agree
fire
with that.
suppression, and EMS.
And if we do that, we should eliminate 200.3.3, which is I think meant for the county
Yeah.
Oh,
fire
yes.
marshal division.
Right, that is supposed to be.
I think that's an ancillary function of the chief to
Right.
interface with the fire marshal
It's
rather
not.
than a separate
Right.
division. Yeah, I
That is
agree with
correct.
that.
And then there's a few typos, or not typos, but at the bottom of the first page,
Okay.
the very last sentence, it says the fire suppression fire chief. Should that just be the fire chief? The fire chief will oversee.
The fire suppression. Fire chief will.
I think that's supposed to be the fire chief will.
Yeah, the fire chief will.
So we can cross out
Like I said,
fire
that was one of those
threats.
kind of minor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the fire chief will oversee.
Yep.
I do
Correct.
have a concern, of course. 200.5, chain of command, the very last paragraph. First of all, this is about organizational structure. And this paragraph is about chain of command. And I think the last paragraph, and I'll read it for the public, it says, other than the exceptions set forth below, no member of the Mason County Fire District 12 shall initiate contact with any member of the governing board or with any other local, regional, state, or federal official regarding any matter affecting Fire 12 without having first informed the chief through chain of command. I would like to remove that paragraph. I believe that it's already addressed in 200.6 and 200.7. And there's a minor change that goes along with that in 200.7 I'll get to, but I've talked to Mike about this, and he told me that this was required under the National Incident Management System, which I did not find anything in there that addresses that. The board, I looked up the WACs. I did some other research on the internet, I found a very good statement by the International Association of Firefighters regarding First Amendment rights for volunteers, and I will give you guys a copy of that. That talks about the freedom of speech and the fact that volunteers should be able to, it says under the First Amendment, individuals do have the right to speak out on matters of public concern without having government employers retaliate against them for the exercise of free speech. And it requires, there's two requirements. One is that an employee's speech or comments must involve a matter of public concern, and the employee's interest in speaking on the matter of public concern must not be outweighed by the employer's interest in promoting the efficiency of public services. They have identified a lot of different topics that fall under public concern, and it's way outside the scope of just chain of command. And so I also looked at the examples that you gave us, Mike, and I thank you also for sharing those. The Hoodsport one does not have a lot of the language. It only has one of the sentences in there. The one from West Mason, I talked with the West Mason commissioners, and they didn't even realize it was in their policy, and they do not use it. They have free flow of information back and forth. And understanding also that, I mean, nobody is recommending disciplinary action issues of that sort of thing. That definitely is part of chain of command. But a firefighter should be able to go to the board about a variety of issues that are of public concern, and they should not be prohibited by this language from doing so. And that is how the board does their work. I mean, we are not allowed to talk to each other. Where if you put a restraint on us from being able to talk to our business, our volunteers, our district members, we would be limited to dealing with Mike, and I have no problem dealing with Mike. But I think back to the prior board that we had, we would have got nothing out of them. And I'm not saying that's ever going to happen again, but I think because of what has happened to us, we have to take every precaution to make sure the board can perform its duties on behalf of the public. And so that's the reason that I would like to remove that whole paragraph. And then alternatively, under the alternate channels of communication under 200.7, the second paragraph, the first paragraph talks about members complying or not complying with directives. That's kind of a separate thing. Then there's an alternate channel of communication, and that says, as a general matter, any concern about a workplace situation should first be raised with the member's immediate supervisor, which is correct. It is recognized, however, that there may be occasions where the use of the established chain of command may not be appropriate. If an issue is of a personnel nature, it involves a sensitive matter, is of a significant importance to the district, or involves other members or supervisors, the member may consult directly with the assistant fire chief or the fire chief. And I would like to add, or in the case of the fire chief, they could confer with the governing board. So that gives them a step to go to if they've got a concern. I mean, if we don't change that, they cannot take their concern any further to be resolved. And I am making the under that whole paragraph that they would be going through the chain of command all the way up. There's quite a few steps before it even gets to you, Mike, so. And then the third paragraph says, it's another one where it's just adding the governing board. It says all members are free to make or prepare to make in good faith any complaint that identifies ethical or legal violations, including fraud, waste, abuse of authority, gross mismanagement, violations of the law, or practices that may pose a threat to the health, safety, and security of the public or members. And by the way, those are things that are mentioned under the free speech. Without fear of actual or threatened discrimination, retaliation, or reprisal. Such complaints are not subject to the chain of command, and that clarifies what I just said, and may be made to any supervisor or directly to the administration. And right there is where I would add or to the governing board. Nothing in this policy shall diminish the rights or remedies of a member pursuant to applicable federal law, U.S. Constitution, state law, ordinance, or collective bargaining agreement. So that would be my proposal.
I don't think I got all that. That was a lot.
I know, it was a lot.
Will I make a comment?
Yeah.
Yes.
The way we had this set up on command, if somebody has a problem, they go to whoever's there, you know, and if that don't work, then it comes to me, and then it goes to Mike, because I'm not gonna name the fire district, but a few years ago, they had problems with a couple people, and it was pure hell, because they just kept going to the commissioners, and it was nothing, but just
This
trying
does
to
not
get
change
stuff.
that, Steve. This does not change that. There's still chain of command, especially in disciplinary issues. It should stay chain of command. What this is talking about is other issues, because the language proposed says literally, you cannot talk to the board about any fire district matter, period. Nothing. And that is not, is not conducive to our ability to do our job. It's not, it's a violation of free speech, and, in my opinion, we need to remove that section. The rest of it stays in place. There's still chain of command. There's still,
Can you name an example of what you're describing?
yeah. In fact, it says it reiterates some of those things in 200.7, and it talks about legal violations, ethical violations, fraud, waste, abuse of authority, gross mismanagement, violations of law or practices that may pose a threat to health, safety, and security of the public or members. Those are all public matters of public concern. And if you read the First Amendment page that I gave you, this is one of the best First Amendment things I've read over the years, and I've read a lot of them. It spells out for you what parameters have to be applied. The speech must involve a matter of public concern, and it lists those. And the employee's interest in speaking on that matter must not be outweighed by the employer's interest in promoting the efficiency of public services. And it also does not apply to, I lost my train of thought. I lost it, sorry.
Madam Chair, just a couple of thoughts, having some experience with military, pseudo-military, and quasi-military organizations that implement a vertical chain of command and communications architecture. Your thoughts are well presented, and I certainly will consider them. But a couple of notes. Most recently, your comment that other than the exceptions listed below, no member of the district shall initiate contact with a member of the governing board, period, is not accurate. It's without notifying the chain of command.
Right. You're correct.
Which is typical for, like I said, vertical chain of command, operational types of organizations. Secondly, these are challenging policies to write because there's a razor's edge of balance between operational efficiency and the functioning of the chain of command for its necessary purposes of maintaining good order and discipline, efficient, effective communications, and operational efficiency, not to mention accountability, with preserving effective communications on important issues that need to be brought to the board's attention or outside agencies' attention. So it is a difficult and challenging thing, and I'm glad you present the points that you do. My chief concern with even in small organizations that implement, like I said, vertical chain of command and communication architectures and command and control systems is the diffusing of accountability, right? The chief is the accountable executive officer of the district. And if everybody's bypassing the chief, not that I think that's happening, but in policy and practice, and the chain of command, then there is no accountability. I can't hold somebody accountable for something they don't know about, or they don't follow the chain of command, and we can't critique or improve by bypassing that. On the other hand, it is very important that we have open communication and dialogue with our volunteers and our officers in the district and the chief in that regard as well. So like I said, it's a tough policy to write, to be accurate and put it in place.
Let me read one more thing. Washington State has strong laws regarding open government and public access to information in meetings. While there are limitations to free speech, generally individuals have the right to express their opinions and concern, including to elected officials. Fire district boards are public bodies. Their actions are subject to scrutiny and public input. A blanket prohibition against firefighters speaking to board members about fire district business would likely be seen as overreach and could be challenged. Boards may have specific procedures for addressing disciplinary matters, but these should not be used to suppress general communication about other fire district business. A board could face legal challenges if they prevent firefighters from raising concerns about safety issues, equipment shortages, or other matters of public interest. A board could also face public backlash if they are seen as suppressing the voices of their volunteer firefighters. While there may be specific procedures for addressing disciplinary matters, which there are, and we do have those, a fire district board cannot generally prohibit firefighter volunteers from speaking to board members about fire district business outside of those specific procedures, as this would likely violate open government principles and free speech rights. So there are other opinions out there, and I realize that this, the chain of command is very important. The board obviously has already been trained to any matters that are disciplinary in nature or that should be gone through the chief. We would definitely ask if they have talked to the chief and encourage that for certain. But I don't feel comfortable suppressing their free speech rights. So, I guess what I would like to do maybe is to put my proposal in writing and table this to the next meeting to discuss again and maybe to take a vote.
Yeah, I think in light of some new information, which I'd like to review thoroughly, that you've presented, Madam Chair, and rightfully so. I'd like to compare and contrast what you would propose versus, what is implemented here and or throughout various other districts in a variety of ways. So I think the goal here is to get the best policy that we can.
Right.
That accommodates everybody's needs. And in no way, shape, or form does my dialogue wish to inhibit, practical reporting to higher authority of impropriety or any other mechanism. But if that becomes the norm in an organization at the operational daily business level, then like I said, we usurp the authority, responsibility, and accountability that we have delegated to the executive and to the officers of the district. So it's a balance.
I would ask you to consider the fact that we do not have this policy in place
We
now.
don't.
And so that is not something that we're taking away.
Sure.
So,
Well said.
okay.
Thank you.
I agree. I'd like to see a draft and make it easier for me or
Right,
maybe the rest of
right.
us is to see the highlighted changes.
Okay.
And I wouldn't be opposed at restructuring that paragraph you want to remove.
Say that again.
Restructuring that paragraph that you
You're
want to remove.
opposed to that?
No,
You
no,
said
I'm not
you're
opposed to
opposed?
restructuring, making the wording sound better. It's and I don't want to go away from what our handbook also says, that the chief is the CEO. He does the day-to-day operations. As an individual, we are not allowed to get involved in the day-to-day operations. Now, if they came to us during a meeting, that's different. They raise the concerns during a meeting.
And that's a fair point,
And that's
Commissioner
freedom-
Jones. I mean,
free speech.
we are our own constituents. They are, everybody's
Yeah.
serving each other here. So we want to make sure we get it right.
Yeah, without us individually having any authority at all, until we are a board, we just need to make sure that our verbiage is correct and legally, correct.
Okay.
You guys can.
I will prepare that and have it ready for the next meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
So it's
Okay.
tabled?
Are you guys?
Table it, yeah.
So,
you guys
I make a motion that we table it.
Madam Chair, I second that motion.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
You guys can seek counsel and lawyer on this. I think it needs to be.
table till next
Okay.
Yeah, I think. What do you guys think of that? Just after we have something in place, not in place, but have it for us to review, and have legal counsel review it as well.
I don't really think that's necessary since legal counsel wrote this to begin with.
I think this
And-
was this Lexipol?
Yeah. And it's their
Yeah, I
local.
think this
Oh,
is out of the,
Yeah.
this is kind of,
And the
Out of the
lawyers
can.
don't make policy, we
Right,
do.
right.
So, I'm
I just don't
comfortable
want to
with us.
violate free speech and our handbook. It sounds like there's already some conflicting things in there, but okay.
Okay. Wildfire community plan update.
Okay, so, I have all the flyers from DNR on an email. And for Firewise, how to make your property safe. It's got pictures, it's got descriptions. And if the board would like, I will purchase some like heavier paper. We can print those and have those to hand out to the community. We can put them to store, different places. So that would actually do the Firewise portion of it and explain how they can keep their property safe from wildland fire.
Is that something that's on the website already, or?
It might be on the website.
on our
Not on our
website?
website.
No,
Okay,
yeah.
but I was thinking on
DNR.
our.
This is,
Yeah.
it might be on DNR's, but, out here, a lot of people don't have, might not have that ability or whatever, so.
Yeah.
I'm
Chief, I'll,
thinking we make it as easy as we can for the people here, and we buy a ream of paper, we print it, we fold them, and
Is this stuff you're talking about, from the DNR, wildfire community pages and that kind of
Right,
stuff?
from
After our
Firewise.
last discussion,
Right.
From
we had a little
Firewise.
bit of information, Firewise, I think is what it's called, you're right, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have all those links, I was doing some research on that.
Yes, I,
I'm sure you do, more
they
than I
sent
do,
out,
Mike. Yeah.
they sent out the 3 different, flyers that they
Okay.
put out.
Okay, because there are some links we could put out, and we could also
Yes.
put some,
We can put
You
the
know,
links on our webpage.
paper stuff out,
Yeah,
Well, you
And-
wanting to do a flyer and mail it out?
yeah,
Okay.
if you guys agree, you know, I don't, not mail
Well, you
it,
know,
it's not a mailer.
Okay.
we haven't, the next item is the levy letter.
Yeah.
Is that something we could send out with
No.
the next levy letter?
No, this is three different flyers,
Oh, okay.
so, and,
Can we safety pin some to like all the kids at the school and send them home with, to their mom and dad? Or-
really, you know, next year, it would be a good thing to send home with all the kids
Yeah.
to their school, from
Yeah.
the school, in their backpacks,
Yeah.
right before summer break.
Sure, sure.
Can I interrupt?
You have to talk to her, not to me. This isn't my meeting.
When I worked here, I had joined that. So in the paperwork here, there's all kinds of ideas you can get a hold of them. You can do it any way.
That's
you
right.
want.
You can actually start a Firewise community, you know, but,
You do little
That would be
things.
good.
I think that's what Steve was talking about a little bit last meeting, and I didn't quite understand it, but like I said, through some research, I think there's some stuff, and that may,
Paperwork, the DNR supposed to give you, all it does is basically, it helps you know how to make a, you know, defensive space all the way around your house.
how to water your grass.
And different ways of doing it.
Trim brush away from, or
Yeah.
close plants up against your house. Don't plant anything up against your house.
sure, yeah, it gives you the
Remove
defensive
fuel.
perimeters
So,
and,
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and then we'll get that,
Yeah.
those put out in different places.
Okay.
I'm gonna I did not talk to my assistant chief about this, but he made one comment last meeting that I think I wanna clarify. He had made a comment, you know, if you smell smoke, not to really call it in if you know it's the neighbors just burning if you have questions, call it in. We are way too dry to even kind of second guess whether, you know, whatever's going on. We will go out, we'll do a smoke investigation and see. We are in a burn ban, rec fires only, within a authorized fire pit, and which is 3 foot is all of, the bigger the fire pit can be, 3 foot across. So, I think as dry as we are, and I mean, they're fighting a fire up there at Vance Creek Bridge right now. They've been on it since yesterday. It's still, well, I think only 50% contained. So, I would say to anybody listening and anybody here, if you've got a question about somebody burning, don't hesitate, call 911.
I was referring to a month ago when we still had moisture on the ground, and now it's dry.
So if you got smoke, call. We will go, we'll investigate it, we'll determine if it's legal or if it's not. That's our job. So that's all I have on all that.
Okay, thank you, Mike. The levy letter.
so,
Oh.
Madam Chair, sorry to interrupt.
I'm
So
sorry,
just
go ahead.
the
Go
one
ahead.
final thing, just so we're not duplicating efforts, Chief. So you got kind of the flyer stuff with the DNR, wildfire homeowner stuff, and I'll get some links out on our,
And I can give you the links if you don't have them.
I think I have them.
Okay.
I want to make sure they're the same you're
Sounds
talking
good.
about,
Yes.
so we'll get
Yes.
together. Okay, thanks.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, the levy, letter, the last meeting that we had, it was brought to our attention that some people did not get the letter that we sent out about the levy. And, we did follow up and we found that there were a number of missing.
Only about a third of the whole district was given to us by the auditor's office. So the whole south end, he went, he needed to go by, I think, the voting district. So he didn't include the Lost Lake area, which
Where's
is
Schaefer?
you guys. So it's everybody south of basically
Yeah.
Fish Hatchery. Didn't really get it. Nobody on West Boundary, nobody on Cougar, nobody Schaefer Park area. Plug Mills, Satsupco Column, no, none of those people received it.
And some people in the group that we did get didn't
Yes,
get it
and like you
either,
didn't get one,
Right.
but your name was in there as it being sent to. So the lake was definitely covered. I went through and I looked for your on the list and you were there. I don't know why you didn't get it in your box.
I get mine at the post office, a lot of those people got
Okay,
mailbox.
and that's, yours is a mailbox, it's not a post office.
It's a post office box, most
Yeah.
of those people have got mailboxes out.
So with the auditor,
Dave, you might wanna make
They're
sure the
showing your
auditor
street
has the
address.
right mailing address.
with the auditor's office.
Maybe they've got the wrong address in there.
Well, they can send me my tax statement.
But that's out of,
That's out of the treasurer's
that's out of the
office, though.
treasurer.
Yeah, the treasurer.
That's
You know,
out of her
I have a
office.
similar scenario where I've got a property that, I used to have an old PO box. I get the property tax statement at my mailing address, but the address is, on the statement is the PO box, just.
That would affect your voting if you vote from there too, so it
Yes.
probably would be a good idea to check. that.
So I guess, to cut to the chase, chief, are we able to obtain?
I talked to
and
Eric
send out?
and he said yes to do strictly FAQ. So not like we're trying to.
Okay, yeah, without
To push
violating the
it, we can't violate
electioneering stuff that we're
So-
precluded by and.
Like put an FAQ of like, why do we need this levy, and with an answer.
Yeah,
What would happen if we do not get this, an answer?
right.
How is this levy going to affect your taxes, an answer?
Right, right.
For you,
And-
for everybody listening, that's because we are prohibited from advocating,
For or against?
for or against,
After May
after
6th.
May sixth,
Yes.
was it?
Yeah, when the
So-
paperwork was submitted.
So it's a voter regulation, we cannot, address that, but a frequently asked questions list is something we couldn't do. We
And
can't.
I talked to Eric about that today, and he recommends it, that we run it, once we get those, run it by him, and yes, we are totally authorized to do that. For one, there was only like, I think 490 addresses before, now there's over 11,000. I mean 1,100, not 11,000. Sorry, one too many zeros. But there's over 1,100.
Okay. Do
And
we know when this will go out, Mike?
as soon as we come up with it, you know, I'm gonna write them all up. I will put them out to you as a read-only. And then I will run them by Eric, and then I will get with the shopper and see if we can get it out again. And then this one here is probably just gonna be not a folded, just one card, like a card. And if you give me the authority to spend it, I'm gonna do it. Because everybody
Do you need
needs
that
it.
now?
I would appreciate it.
Okay,
Because I'd like to get it out sooner than later. August 6th is the election. And so we're getting towards the end of June.
Madam
Well,
Chair,
I
I
move-
move that we authorize the chief to execute one more mailing as discussed with respect to levy, so that folks are informed.
I second.
I also talked to him, we will put the equation on there. So it's basically the same equation she used, but
okay.
it'll be part of the card, so they can actually take their assessed value from that card and figure it out.
Okay. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Done.
Okay, state auditor meeting update. Mike?
Okay, so we met with them, was it this last Tuesday? A week ago, yesterday, yeah. So everything for the accountability audit, they're satisfied with. So the accountability audit, correct me if but it's being pushed up the chain of command. So she's got what she needs, and so they'll put that up for approval and publishing. They are working on the fraud still. And they have everything they need for the fraud report, which is everything we've uploaded. Everything that Chief talked about, that Trina has done, all that stuff is there. They have every bit of the stuff that we have turned over to FBI and to law, and to Sheriff's Office. So they're gonna start working on that. They really didn't say how far along they were. They were kind of more hush-hush on the fraud part of it. So I think we're in good shape. They're not requesting anything from us.
Are they gonna wait till they're both done before they report to us?
They
or-
did not say that,
Didn't say.
Okay.
but that's how it came out last time, I think.
Right.
That we got them both at the same time. We did talk about, if we were able to make payments. And so, like, we did receive a bill yesterday for $15,000, just shy of 15,000, 14, I think 8 or something like that. So we did reach out to them, and we're gonna do payments of $2,000 a month, so that if something comes up within our budget, we're not just dumping everything. But that's only on the one bit, and this is on the whole thing overall.
The 15 grand is just for the accountability audit.
No, that's on the work they've done so
On the
far.
portion they've done.
That's just for the billing of the hours of what they've done.
Okay.
I think it was
So-
for both. It was bills for both.
Yeah, and it might involve both.
It would.
And if I figured it out right by what we paid so far, it's kind of hard to figure out because we were paying for the last one plus this one at a time.
Right.
But I still think there's around 60,000 that we haven't been billed for. So they will let us do it in payments. They're not in a big hurry for us to do it.
Okay.
So where we just got like half of our taxes so far at the first part, when we get the second part, if nothing is blowing up on us and buildings haven't fell in, we should be able to pay it off. But they're letting us work with that.
Okay.
We have a meeting again on Monday.
Yeah, a meeting again this coming Monday, 8:30, because Tuesday was not a doable day.
Monday.
So they're meeting, every other
I'll
week.
I'll be there this time.
We are, every other Tuesday we're doing it, except for this one meeting. It's on Monday.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes.
The hall paint project.
So, as y'all all know, the house mouse? Or mouse? Yeah, house mouse. So they approached us way back at the Fireman's Ball, wanting to do the labor for free of painting it. They've done an outstanding job. The association stepped in and purchased the paint. So at the district, we wouldn't have to do that at all. So out of taxpayer money, nothing. There's been no dollars spent of taxpayer money, but we have the hall all repainted. They have a little bit of touch-up to do. They're gonna do it Friday before the open house this Saturday. And they've done an outstanding job.
Looks great, Chief.
And I mean, it still blows me away that they just want to do the whole thing for free from the very get-go, So,
Very generous of them.
yes, very, very generous.
And the association
And the association,
to coordinate that, yep.
that's outstanding.
We should make sure and send a thank you to them in the
Yep.
mail.
That will be done, and I think it'd be good to have your three
Yeah.
sign the card.
Mhm.
Okay, and myself, and
Yeah.
we'll send it.
Okay.
Oh, just a little bit more, if you notice, the white lines are painted in here too. The first hall, and then we will get the other, we're gonna work on the other ones done, so
Very good.
keep the chief from denting the rigs back in.
Yeah.
That'll save us some money on the
Is
next
that
L and I audit too.
Is that non-skid? Does that serve as well?
No, it does not. That's still gotta happen.
Okay.
It has glitter, but so far it doesn't seem like it's really
Sticky.
working.
All right. I think that's all the unfinished business. New business. Rescinding resolution 2411. Adopting a new credit card.
Would you let me explain why?
Yes.
Okay, so the commission had given us authority to try to get a credit card from US Bank, which is they hold the state contract for like credit card services, and we were denied. We come to find out that our credit with them is bad because of the prior administration. There was $36,881 and some odd cents that was never paid. The bank wrote it off. We do not have to pay that, but it hurt our credit. So we were not allowed, they won't give us a credit card. So we want to go a different direction. And so that's why we want to rescind that one and bring the next one up.
So it's basically replacing our community credit union with Key Bank.
Not our US
US
Bank.
Bank
No,
with Key Bank.
yeah, but this one
It
was,
says our community.
this one was our community.
Oh, it was,
That was the
okay, yeah.
resolution.
So, yes, it is. And our community cannot hold tax dollars
Because it's a credit.
because it's credit union, they're owned by the members.
Okay.
A bank can. And we're asking for a $5,000 secured.
Okay.
Yep.
So I move that we rescind resolution number 2024-11. I don't know if we
Second.
want to do it all in one.
I second.
Okay, second. Motion has been made and seconded to rescind resolution 24-11. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion carries.
I move that we adopt resolution number 2025-6.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Okay. BLS response with District 12 update. This is a follow-up to the discussion at the last meeting, and there's a lot of confusion as how the BLS run cards work as a result of ending the ILA with West Mason, District 16. So Mike, do you want to talk about that?
Yes. So the way the run cards work is the chief feels, I look at each incident of every kind of call there is. There's different levels of fire, there's different levels of wildland, there's different levels of medical. And there's MCI. And so we build our run cards by how we want the response to come to us. So the ILA is ending tomorrow, is the last day of it, the 19th. So as starting the 20th, after talking to Deputy Chief Yates of Central Mason, the BLS response they are going to handle our BLS response. And so they're BLS and ALS for us. And so no matter what, they come on every one of our medical calls. So they have within Shelton 1, 2, 3 medic units. One's at Island Lake, and then the one's downtown. So, and then the next one, it would be at Lake Limerick, which isn't far off. So that's the way it's going to be from the 20th on. BLS and ALS will be Central Mason.
I have a question, Mike.
Yes.
My concern about this is the additional distance that our BLS response comes from. If I am down by Schaefer Park and Hal has a heart attack and needs CPR, and say we have one or two 2 EMRs that show up
Mhm.
from District 12. How long can they perform effective CPR between the two of them before Central Mason gets down there? I mean, that's about,
Continuous. And
You want us to answer?
yeah, yeah.
We'll do it as long as it takes, but I will say they are fast.
And it don't have to be an EMR, everybody else has got first aid.
yes, we're all first aid CPR.
You're not getting, and whenever West Mason would pull in, it'd just be minutes or seconds, and Central would be right behind them.
Right, it's like less than 5 minutes, usually like 2. So we
Okay,
barely get to do anything before they're there.
well, that's West Mason you're talking about. But
Well,
Central is gonna take,
Central's about 3 to 4 minutes behind.
Yeah.
so
You're only
how many
talking,
minutes?
you're talking about 6 miles difference.
So 15 minutes?
No,
Like 3,
no.
4.
No, 15 minutes for them to get there from Shelton.
Well, it depends on where it's at. I mean,
Like if I'm at Schaefer Park, how long is it gonna take Central to get there? What's that?
That would be an ALS call anyway.
right.
Central would be the one.
Central's coming in, so,
No matter what.
right.
They might take the other
They will
route.
take the Highland
Coquitlam.
and come down to south of Coquitlam, yes.
Yeah.
Same as 16 did.
Yeah.
So in your opinion, this isn't going to increase the amount of time that a member of our community is going to get the more advanced medical care that they might need on a call?
No. Nope.
Cause you can call in a healer, right?
What?
If it's that bad, a healer to land,
Yes.
you know,
We can, yeah, any one of us can call airlift in ahead of time. That's not we don't have to wait for them to make that call. And that's actually an airlift recommendation. It was like where it's down in your area, don't wait for ALS, don't wait for anybody. Launch them.
Okay, do you want to give an update on the helicopter thing?
Sure. There is an update. So Trina and Hal, who live down in Bierbauer, have offered their field as a airlift site. So that's all being worked on with the 2 airlift companies. We have Airlift and we have Life Flight out of Aberdeen. So as soon as we get that all done, we're going to set up for training. But Hal has this place, it's level, it's a field, he's keeping it mowed. I mean, the
No
ambulance,
power lines,
no power
trees?
lines, no trees, no nothing. Yeah, it's just, the ambulance will drive right up next to the helicopter. So that gives us a south, and they've offered it also for mutual aid for Grace 5 and Grace 2, who borders on the south end. So, yes, it can serve a lot of people.
That's awesome.
The
Thank
whole
you.
South County and
That
their
will help.
North County. Yeah.
We've never had an additional.
No, not a
area to-
dedicated area.
not- yeah.
No.
So,
That's fantastic, yep.
okay, anything more on that one?
No.
Okay. I am going to withdraw my the item that I had put on there for new business until next meeting, considering the time. We're 2 hours into it. And I have some questions that need to be answered first anyway, so we won't discuss the review of the resolution 24-7. But there was one last thing, and we didn't have it on here, but Nick, you indicated you wanted to discuss the chief evaluation.
Oh yeah, just
Oh,
the
yeah.
process.
Yeah.
So to start it, I need to find the information I got from that training I went to with Quinn. We need to. I don't know if we have one, but do we have does the district have an adopted evaluation sheet for the chief?
We do know.
So we will need to obtain one first.
I did
And-
print off a sample one.
A sample one, okay. And I know Quinn during the training says he has them, and they're like a score based. And
Metrics
so
based,
the
and that's
beginning
how we should do it.
process of it is once we adopt, the board adopts the form. then Val is kind of the mediator, and Val will distribute that like via email to each commissioner. Each commissioner fills that out, and then it gets brought back to Val, and then she tallies the score. And then further on that, I need to do more research into that. I need to find the paperwork I got,
Yeah,
but that's
it's
the
gonna have to be
starting of it.
written up somehow.
Yeah, it gets written up and it can get discussed depending on what comes up, and what we decide to do.
That's not a form, it's just kind of a general guideline of the items that would be
Okay.
included.
And we can all discuss what we want on the form and look at it and say, this is, let's add this or take away that. Usually you don't have to adopt it because the district usually has one already, but since we've been starting from scratch and no paperwork and policies were
I was
in
never
place.
evaluated before. I don't think they've ever
Yeah.
evaluated the chief.
Well, your new.
We didn't.
Your new contract requires it,
That's right.
so.
So did the
Yeah.
old ones.
Yeah.
well,
So I think if,
I don't know.
I think if we start on that part of it,
Yeah, I think that's a good,
and then we can go from there.
that's how I would expect
Yeah.
things to
I
run,
would
rather
like
than just being totally subjective and.
I would like to kind of do this in a separate special meeting because of how long it might take, and then, it's gonna be a long time for people to wait.
Good
if
idea.
We have to do.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Madam Chair.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, let's get that and go from there.
Maybe we can get that done, at least well, we wouldn't need the special meeting till we did the survey, right?
I'll tell you, I think once you get all the
I think we have
paperwork
to, I think we
together,
have to objectively
You'll-
approve the, performance evaluation criterion.
right,
Yeah,
Then we have
Val can
to,
distribute it to
So
us.
we could probably do that in executive session, right? Have
No.
the meeting,
no, I think
approve
that's gotta
it.
be.
yeah,
We
no,
could have a
can't take
special
action
meeting.
in that executive session. We
No,
have
not
to-
take action, but,
I think that.
so you're saying we'd have to fill them out before we come to.
Yes,
the
yeah,
meetings
they're all
then?
filled out on your
Gotcha.
own
Okay,
and sent individually to,
But you guys
the
have to
secretary.
adopt that form.
but we have to adopt that form first since we don't have one in place.
okay,
And then we can do a special meeting to adopt that form if that's what you're thinking.
yeah,
Okay.
okay,
Have to go through it.
yeah. All right, is there anything else? Good of the order.
Yeah, do you guys have it in your meeting where Mike was authorized to go out and purchase this tanker?
He has not purchased it yet.
No, you give him the authorization to go out and
We did not authorize writing the grant, as I recall. I don't know that is required in writing a
think it is.
grant, but I think we would have
Yeah.
to, and that's what I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
I think before we accepted the money, we would have to approve accepting the money.
You do.
No, I mean, he's basically made a deal with this outfit on the tanker.
I have
Did you
not.
give him the authorization?
This was an offer from US Fire to the district. And he was the point of contact.
Give him the authorization because he's the one that's.
He hasn't purchased anything, so
I realize that. I just asked, did you give him the authorization to go look for another tanker?
Yes.
It
Months
was
ago,
not,
we
Yes, it was
discussed
there
it.
was not board action.
Months
said-
ago, we discussed it at meetings and at the strategic planning meetings.
At the well, yeah.
And
Did we
we
talk
did-
about that
mhm.
specific one?
We did
Okay.
talk about looking at that tender, because he's brought that up several
A few
months.
But I
last
think
year.
what Dave is asking is, did we have a
Yeah.
formal vote?
You know, I think that's a
to
good
do
point. I
it?
think,
And
I think the
don't
question
think-
No,
here is
I don't
that,
think of formal.
and thanks for that, Dave. Do we want to authorize the chief today to execute the grant? And two, further execute the procurement of that tender pending various other things, none of which, again, and having been there a little bit, is firm until the conditions which the chief specifies are there. But do we want to authorize him to move forward with that, or do we want to wait? What's your
I
recommendation?
do know that she needs who is going to sign so that the DocuSign can be done. Same way with that other one that I brought to you. Who can sign that? So that really should have been under new business.
Yeah.
That one I gave you for the reoccurring, that's the same thing, they need names, and they're gonna need the same thing for who's gonna be the signatures on the grant contract.
The grant, I still would like to have some of those questions I raised answered before I'm willing to commit to the purchase. But I think in the meantime, if, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, if we approve accepting the grant, if we don't use the grant, ultimately, we can return the money. Is
Do
that?
not know, we haven't got the write-up on the
That's
paperwork.
that's what you requested. was the write-up
We're
on the
waiting
grant.
on the actual DNR to send that portion of it out. I don't know what the restraints that grant are, or the limitations, we don't have any of that yet.
I have an issue
Yeah.
then
I
with
agree.
approving
Yeah.
it until we see the
I agree.
paperwork.
I agree.
I agree
Yeah.
with that too. And that can be a special meeting,
So-
if that's what it takes.
Yeah.
And
So let's just.
Yeah, I
apply
didn't
to-
recognize
there's
there were
no
additional
purchasing
terms other
this-
than what
this-
the application had on it.
there's no agreement to purchase or anything until this tender is completed, one way or the other.
So, okay.
We do not have to accept it after he's made everything that we requested. We do not have to accept it, that's straight from him. Cut and dry, we are not locked into anything.
That's good. So I would
Yeah.
suggest that we wait till we get the grant,
Contract.
The paperwork,
so we see what it says before we authorize signing it.
I agree.
So,
I
thank you, Dave.
think there needs to be eyes on all of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cross the T's
Now-
and dot the I's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you
yeah.
need to do
Thank you.
this too?
Yes, we do need who, I would like to have authority to sign that, that's gonna be an
Can you
end.
explain
Yeah.
it
Yes,
real quick?
so this is the Fire District Assistance Agreement. It's done annually by DNR. Like if we were to get a brush truck from them, that falls under this. We did get the admin Jeep that they gave us, that falls under this. So it stipulates, that we have to keep it for a year. It has to be put into our name immediately, which it was. We have to maintain it, do everything for a year, and then it becomes ours permanently. And that's the same way with the brush trucks.
Okay. So
But this is an annual agreement that we'll be signing
Okay.
every year. Because I'm gonna keep asking for stuff from them as long as we can get it for
Yeah.
free.
So this is good for 1 year, whatever.
Yes, it is.
No matter how much we get.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Okay, and that has to be signed.
Yes,
Okay.
they're wanting this one now to be, for a name of who's to go on.
Madam
here.
Chair, I move that we authorize Chief Brown to execute signature on Fire District Assistance Agreements with the Department of Natural Resources for acquired equipment.
Okay,
And
I
it's more
second.
than vehicles, it's any kind of equipment, we can get a generator from, it. If all falls under here.
I second that motion.
any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Okay, I will sign this and put it back out tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any good of the order?
Yes. We don't have hardly any volunteers here at the moment, but, I mean, it's a big thanks to all the volunteers, because every one of them, they're working and they're enthused about it. They're all enjoying it, there's no bickering or this person over here or that. Everybody is one body and they're doing it, they're learning stuff, running calls, but it's one happy group and they're all focused on one particular thing, that's our district.
Thanks, Chief.
I think that's it.
Think so?
So I make a motion.
Oh, no.
Oh.
I'm not, I got good with the order. Be quick about it. To clarify, the open house on Saturday, the association is sponsoring it, so we can push the levy limit. It's not sponsored by the district, this is sponsored, it's just here in the building, it's sponsored by the association. So I hope to see everybody there, 5 o'clock Saturday, we'll have a community meeting, and then we'll have hot dogs and potato salad and everything And,
That's
there'll
this
be some
Saturday.
props,
Yes,
if
Saturday.
Dave's always good
Yeah.
about.
5
visual
o'clock?
Props.
5
5 o'clock,
5 o'clock.
this Saturday. That's all I got.
Is the sheriff's office gonna be there?
Sheriff Sperling will be there. The chief is the speaker, guest speaker, he will give a report also. Don't look so glum.
No, I will be, yeah. I'll answer questions just like
and-
we've been doing, so.
My sweet voice will be the MC, and, I will probably unveil a meaningful little story.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, all right then,
Madam
Wait.
Chair,
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I move to adjourn.
I second.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Did you